And we should be live. Hello everyone and welcome to Trek Central's weekly live stream. This week we're discussing episode 3 of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. I'm your regular host, Captain Jack, here on Trek Central Live. It is the 1st of November and oh boy, this year is going good. We're well within our way to the 23 weeks of Star Trek content now, and whew, it's going really fast. Too fast in a way. Anyway, tonight I am joined by my co-host, as per usual, Mr. Ketwolski, aka Nick. How are you doing, Nick?
Fantastic, good sir. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. Yeah, it's well, you know, UK's going back into lockdown, so we've got about 5 minutes of positivity before we're depressed again. But other than that, it's pretty good, isn't it? Now, of course, this week we're also joined by some special guests who are long-time Star Trek fans and well-known throughout the Trek YouTube community. Of course, the fantastic gentlemen from TrekYards, Stuart and Samuel. How are you doing?
Great. How you doing, guys?
Good, yeah. Well, it's great to have you on here, and I'm sure we're going to jump into some, Star Trek discussions. We've got plenty of ship discussions to have a little bit later on, and I'm sure you guys can provide your expertise into that one. But of course, before we do get started, a couple of reminders about the weekly news of the Star Trek universe I'm sure you're all interested in. There isn't actually much for me to talk about this week, so it's going to be relatively quick. But of course, Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 3 is now available all around the world. CBS All Access for viewers in the United States, Crave and CTV Sci-Fi for Canada, and of course Netflix for all the other countries internationally. So go ahead, watch it there. This stream will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. If you do want to watch our complete review for this week, it went live on Thursday, as we'll do all our reviews for Star Trek Discovery, so go and check it out this year. In terms of upcoming content this week on Trek Central, we've got a breakdown of the new ships we saw. We'll be discussing those in the stream as well, so don't worry. And we've got plenty of other content coming up as we head towards Episode 4 of Discovery, which obviously airs this coming Thursday and Friday, as per usual. In terms of news this week, there's nothing much to massively talk about. There is a new Janeway autobiography book coming out, so you book nerds may enjoy that one. Other than that, there isn't really much to talk about. If any of you do remind me of stuff, feel free to let me know in the chat, and we will shout it out towards the end. Don't forget to keep up to date with the latest Trek Central news. You can follow us down below on our social media links. And of course, if you want to get involved with the show tonight, you can of course subscribe, super chat, become a YouTube member, all that fancy stuff via the YouTube live chats. And don't forget, if you do miss a stream or don't happen to catch it, the VOD will be available afterwards. And we'll be back next weekend at 9 PM GMT. The clocks have changed now, as somebody pointed out to me last week when I said it wrong, but we're still here anyway. So if you're here an hour after this is live, hello. We was alive an hour ago. But gentlemen, let's jump into discussion. So, Discovery Episode 3, The People of Earth. What a fantastic, episode this week. After the last two episodes, honestly great. Nick, as our regular host, I'd like your thoughts first for this week's episode. Tell us what you thought.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. So I always I have to restructure my rating scales for different shows now of Star Trek. Like Picard, Lower Decks, and Discovery, I feel like are on different levels. So in terms of this episode, in context of the other episodes of Discovery, I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a pretty much standout episode. There were still some issues that I had, which I think we could probably get into some of the gripes and concerns that I had with it. Later on in the middle of and kind of slash in the middle of the episode. But overall, I did enjoy it. I really liked the interactions between Saru and Michael Burnham. I actually really enjoyed seeing Sonequa act different in this episode than she has kind of in the past, especially when she was around Book. They kind of had a really fun interaction with each other. Some areas it felt a little forced, but in most of the time it felt a bit natural, like somebody who would be good friends with someone over the last year, and they've kind of been relying on each other. And I thought the action was really great. A lot of really interesting questions that were answered and kind of brought up. I think we've gotten more and more questions as to what it is that happened, especially in regards to Starfleet and the Federation. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was good.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to go to Stuart of TrekYards first. Stuart, give us your thoughts on the latest episode.
It felt Star Trek, which was great. A lot of people have been saying it's one of the best episodes of Discovery. I think it's in the upper half of the Discovery tier as far as episodes go, but I don't think it's one of the best. It had a lot of issues within it, which seemed a little bit unearned to me, and a lot of things that didn't quite make sense narrative-wise. But you're right, Sonequa Martin-Green being lighter, as Tilly described her, was a lot better. And Saru was again very, very well portrayed. You'd think that I'd like this one more than I did. Usually I'm more lenient on Discovery than Samuel is. Samuel really enjoyed this episode. I did as well, but it still had a lot of issues for me, more so than last week. Did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. It didn't really throw any curveballs that I wasn't expecting this week. But I got to say, it is the Hell on Wheels reunion show. Yeah, But that stood out to me. The Swede, he's back. You can never kill that guy.
Listen, not that there's anything wrong with the Hell on Wheels reunion show. In space! Yeah, right.
Can we get it with
Right.
those hands as well every time we mention it?
Yeah.
Just in
Whoa!
space!
In space! That's it. The space hands.
Samuel, I'll go next to you. Your thoughts on Discovery there, episode 3.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Nick. There's definitely a scale between the different shows. The expectations are whatever, and Discovery itself has kept reinventing the wheel each season. It's kind of had to, but it's kind of wanted to, and so each year it's changed in every respect pretty much. So this season it is really a reboot, but as such it can take in its own unique appreciation. And I think the first two have been interesting with some negative points, but I mean this one I think is potentially the best episode of Discovery so far. It's effective, you know, within its own season, but also with all of them. The fact they're resetting the characters really kind of giving them a third reboot. I mean, you could say it's development, but I don't think they never designed it with this in mind. So it is kind of like, and now they're going to go to this direction without really, like Stuart said, feeling earned. But now we're here, it works a lot better. You know, Burnham was the best this week than she's ever been, and that is great because Sneak Martin Greer as an actress, I've met her, she's lovely, she is impressive, and yet the character has always been really underwhelming. And the questions and potential answers have been interesting. The fact that we're seeing so much from the trailers and so much of what we thought we might see, and yet there's still 10 more episodes, shows us that we do not know where it's going. There is a complete disconnect of, well, it could go anywhere. And unlike season 2, where the end needed to be really well thought out for the setup to make sense, and it didn't. This season, I think they're doing a nice gentle build where they have a lot of potential, and I think it's going to work a lot better.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Sorry, let me say this.
Okay.
I'll say one of the things that I really did super enjoy so far about the third season is the plot hasn't, and this isn't like a dig, like Sadiqa, Michael Burnham typically carries the plot flag, and she arrived with it at the end of the episode 2, and they moved it, and there's definitely things that happened in the third episode, but they haven't really revealed like the big issue, and they haven't really done too much of that. Like, I like the fact that this season, because the other 2 seasons were always about stopping the big event from happening. There was always a ticking clock.
End of
there
the
was always
universe.
pressure.
Which
End of the
gets
universe,
somewhat
right.
underwhelming 3 times in a row. It's like, well...
Right. Which I like about this season, though, is because essentially the fight it's already happened, and they lost.
Yeah.
The fit, it fell
Well, we don't
apart.
know, though. We don't know.
Well, right. Well, we don't know.
That's kind
That's
of
right.
the fun. Because
We don't know.
Positivity that means,
Right.
The fact is every time we hear about the Federation, there's no sense of those scumbags. They're still at reverence. So
Right.
they kind of fall in the dark sense. I think this episode really does well. Discovery Season 1 was especially dark. Season 2 had dark themes in Section 31. These episodes, while having darkness in Season 3, there's this massive underline of, oh no, there's hope. And it just is so rewarding. It's so much better than it's been before.
That is like how season 3 was or originally sold to us in a way, is when we learnt about it from when it was developing, and Michelle Paradise, the co-showrunner, was always about season 3 is going to be about delivering hope to a universal galaxy that doesn't really have anymore, and that's going to be Discovery's purpose. Even say that in a trailer a few times. But before we do jump into our big discussion points for today, thank you to Sean Casey for a YouTube super chat. And Sean says, have you ever seen the founding episode It's a Trap, the never-ending wait for fighting to begin at, I can't read the rest of that, at Jabba's bar? Just how I felt about this episode. Get on with it, fingers crossed. Yeah, I guess we could discuss the pacing of this a little bit later on, but I personally found this episode flowed well. I was doing those thing I always do typically with the Mandalorian episodes. I'm like, how many minutes is left? Please tell me there's more. I want more. But yeah, this episode overall, my general thoughts on it, really loved it. There's some great elements in this. One of the best, I think, was almost showing the character development of Commander Michael Burnham, and also now Captain Saru as well, who is the official captain, kind of the USS Discovery. And that moment there where we stand on the bridge at the end and you see Saru looking at the view screen along with Burnham, it was really nice in a way, because it shows they've come together, and it's like we've got the dynamic duo back together. This can be our captain and first officer as the season plays out there. And I'm all for that, to be honest. I can't wait to see how this goes down. I love Saru's moments in his episode where it's like, he wanted Burnham to be his number one. And it's like, you can tell that's been on his mind for a while at least, and he's definitely been thinking about that. And I love how it's sort of
Well, it has
played out
been one day though, so how long can for a while be?
Well, what I'm saying is most
day.
likely he's been thinking, if I ever make captain, then it's going to be, because obviously he was commander above her on Discovery when she first arrived. He's like, she could be under me for a while. Then she immediately gets commander.
Yeah, I would say that in terms of just as a person, right? Saru, and that's one of the reasons why I think we've all leaned into Saru taking the charge, is because he's typically the one that backfills that chair when there's nobody in it. So I think if as a person, he's probably thought to himself, if I were to be captain, who would be my first officer? And he's known Burnham for
Quite a long
years
time,
at this
yeah.
point.
15, 20
you know?
years.
Yeah,
Shinzo.
right.
Yeah.
So, right, exactly. And so I would think that I'm sure the thoughts probably occurred to him.
Oh,
at
of course,
some
yeah.
point,
I mean,
like,
everyone has that thought of
sitting
like,
there.
I would love
What
to
if
do. I would love to do a
right.
retrospective review on Saru's character development, because although character development Discovery is a bit iffy sometimes, I feel like he says some good things, and I know what you gents think of this. I just remembered a good episode where in season 1 where Lorca's kidnapped and Saru like runs into the ready room and brings up a list of decorated captains and tries to like learn their qualities from them. I thought, now comparing it to now he is the captain, it's like I wonder if you can show elements of those qualities that are now in his character in a way. It'd be a great thing to look back on, and maybe we can do like another discussion of it at some point specifically on Saru. But it could be a good thing. Before we jump into it, I'm just going to read some more super chats in it, and then I think we'll discuss ships, because I'm sure TrekYards over here are burning to discuss that one. Amir, thank you for $5 donation. Amir says, future may be hard to let a 60-year-old work for Earth's defences, let alone be allowed to leave with Stamets on a ship. We'll discuss that a little bit off, because obviously Blue Dovario's new character, Vadira, great new character, can't wait to discuss them. Brian Harvard says $2, and he goes, wow, add Steve Shives on my fans in one place. Yeah, we're going to hopefully have Steve back on sometime soon. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, as I love Steve's discussions. He's a great person to chat with. The Hell on Wheels reunion show. I love this user, by the way. You change your username every week, so I don't know what to actually call you, but I appreciate the username changes. I predict Tau will be transferred. Oh, you do? Okay. I predict Tau will be transferred from Madeira to Grey. Yes, I think we'll discuss that towards the end of this episode when we make some speculation on episode 4. But gentlemen, let's discuss the ships. Obviously, that's a big factor. I'm a big ship guy when it comes to Star Trek. When after Picard was slightly underwhelming for me, I was like, oh, Discovery, teasers of new ships in a mid-season trailer. Sure, and then they all blew up. I was like, oh, okay then, right. You tease us and then you blow them up. For God's sakes. Now, you guys have done a good retrospective breakdown of the ships so far. So why don't you take it away? What are these new ships? What do we have to know about them? Is there anything interesting that sticks out so far? Take it away. I don't know where you want to jump into that, but feel free.
Well, it was definitely a stylized representation of the ships exploding in the burn. The fact that people complained about them being clumped together and not at warp, that's neither here nor there. If you notice, when they zoomed in on the map, which had all the Federation contact points. Those all became ships, and then they went boom. It was a stylized representation.
And if you look at filmmaking, just the pure way that things are told to us, it's via a narration, via an info dump, and therefore just the format of that explanation fits itself to this is symbolic. If it's actual flashbacks, and this didn't feel like a flashback. Just to jump in.
I'm sure we're going to get more burn flashbacks. At least
We'd have
we
to.
are.
Yeah.
I think the extended trailer for season 3 teased that as well. We saw the Hiawatha type crashing down, which is a discussion at some point. But hopefully that's going to be explained, and
Yep. No, there were a few different ships there, but it was very much. It felt almost like the end of Picard again, kind of a cut and paste fleet. They designed 1 or 2 ships, and they smattered the same one throughout. It wasn't quite as varied as I think it could have been. That being said, they did design some new ships, which was great, even though most of them looked like they could fit in the Orville or the Galaxy Quest universe just perfectly. But, it's the future, so that's fine, I guess. No, I mean, I hope we get to see more of them and a little bit in closer detail. I believe we do. I believe there was a view of one of them out of a window or on the view screen in one of the trailers. So.
I know in the extended trailer again, where we see the Hiawatha type crashing down, I think you see that other like modern Star Trek saucer ship, one almost looks like the Enterprise J/Mix VNX, that sort of style, in the background also blowing up. So I imagine we're going to probably see that type again at some point. I would love to see it, because that certainly looks like a modern evolution of a typical Starfleet design. It's still got the saucer and the sails, some sort of like modified secondary hull there. I hope we see that again, because that could be a new modern class for us to enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, or your audience knows, I do a lot of fan film work, and I'm often tasked to design new things from all the different eras. And so I can definitely, and we've met Ryan Dennings, who designed most of the stuff for Discovery Season 2. And so if I was asked to design, 32nd century ships and a fleet of them, I wouldn't be excited, because it's the most hard thing to do. The J and the Relativity are both extremely odd but extremely interesting, and to go beyond that, you can't really judge them in any real discernible way, especially as she even says Federation, not Starfleet. So the broadness of that design ethic can be any race. It's such a broad thing. I mean, for the most part, they are fine, but you know what I mean. What can you really go with them on that? I think the future Starfleet ship is the nicest, but it's obviously been given the most love, and it's in the wreckage early in the season. The Fornacell kind of Leland-esque ship, Section 31, is nice enough. But the thing is, we didn't get close enough. And even when I did my clever AI upscaling to see some detail, it's barely there. So it really is just the tease. but they're obviously low poly models. So I can imagine they either, just like with season 1, look, here's a Defiant on the screen that no one actually designed, one of our artists just drew it for this moment, and then later on we needed actual Enterprise. I think we're going to see the different ships, or really redesigned so that throws in quickly earlier in the season when they're producing it. So I think we'll see some different stuff. But they're fine, they're good. I mean, you can't really judge them because they're so different than they should be. And so they're good. They're good in that way.
It does the job for the scene at hand.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's very effective for the shot. Like, Stuart, you just said, like, it was obviously just a narrative storytelling tool to just represent the exploding of the ships. And I think that based off of the trailers and stuff like that, obviously we're going to meet up with future Starfleet / Federation, and I think we're going to be able to see some of the ships that they're using. So those are going to be those super detailed ships that we're going to be able to actually kind of dig into and I'm very excited to see what those might look like. Like, do they look like ships that we've seen before, or have they continued to progress the technology even this far? I don't know yet, but yeah, I think we're going to get to see some more stuff later. I mean, Discovery's always been kind of big on ships. Even if they reuse some of their models, I would say that Discovery's kind of the farm of ships where they keep shoveling those ships out to the other shows in some regards. But they have a lot of ships there, and I'm very excited about it. But I'm curious to hear, what did you guys think of the EDF defense platform shielding and ships and that stuff like that was around there? I will throw out there that I did like the fact that a simple torpedo shot from one of the EDF ships just slammed the Discovery so hard, which it should have been, and I appreciated the attention to detail and that they threw that in there. Yeah. But I'm curious, what did you guys think of the designs there and that look?
Well, on the quick torpedo note, and I was I think this episode really, there were so many holes that they could have fallen into, as Discovery often does, that this doesn't make sense. Can we not do that next week? And then, the simple note of, yes, it shouldn't take anything. Simple thing, effective, and you could easily argue they put their torpedoes on lower power, less yield, because, they didn't necessarily want to, they could easily argue a few other things there. So, sorry, just to note.
No, that's a good point to note because, right, exactly. That's a good point.
Stuart, platforms.
The defense platforms were interesting. I love the segments that aren't attached but are clearly part of it. Like, we even saw that with Burnham's ship, which was very Discovery shuttle-like, but with the side engine things. So that's a good evolution of tech. Now, my only question is, how is Eagle Moss going to represent that when they get that model?
Oh, yes.
But as somebody in our live review said, it's like those defense platforms are the final evolution of the PlayStation 5.
Now you mention it.
They look similar, and they're big enough. I mean, it's a big console.
It probably costs about the same too.
So like, when we get to Federation, it's get some giant black cubes there. It's like, it's the Xbox. Okay.
Well,
the Borg have evolved.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the Borg rectangle now. Okay.
But the gleaming white platforms did look good. So did the defense grid, which was very reminiscent of what we saw in Picard for the planetary defense screens there. But the fact that they were white, again, it felt more to me like either Orville or Galaxy Quest kind of. They were just too gleaming white. But I liked it because that's a fine evolution of the aesthetic of Starfleet. I mean, it's almost a call back to what we saw in the TOS with the more white ships back then. So
wasn't a dystopian look with the coppers and the browns.
Exactly.
And the...
Right. That's a good point.
I think in a way, like, they have to show although it's like an evolution of Starfleet's design, because it's now the Earth Defense Force, it's not Starfleet. Therefore, it has to show. If it obviously would look like a Federation relay or something like that, it'd be like, well, hang on a minute, you've meant to moved away from Starfleet and Federation. It would look a bit odd. Before we do continue, a couple of subjects there. Helen Wheels says, "I am Jill47. Stuart stole my name reveal. Thank you for the donation." And Brian says, "Stuart, were you happy they showed the prongy things getting repaired after the crash of Discovery? I remember you being concerned they just brushed it off." Stuart, question for you.
Did they show the prongy things getting repaired? They showed repairs.
The hull
and they were using they were using work bees, and for some reason the repair bots, which
I didn't think they had them on board.
I hope they borrowed. I hope they borrowed them from Enterprise.
Yeah,
like, here, take some because you're going to need them. Yeah. But no, I was happy that they were showing that. That was, if you think about it, they came out of a battle, through a wormhole, crashed into a planet.
In the same day.
Would have been
same day.
Yeah, so
maybe poor Gene was still like sweeping up everywhere.
Yeah, Gene's just shoveling a lot of shit. Poor Gene. I know he's
I
the
hope
only
we
guy
just
down
see
there
him in the
qualified.
background just picking. You know what? I think there's that other show where it's like, what's that show? It's like a comical thing in comedy where something gets damaged and the poor guy has to repair it every time. It's something from somewhere. I hope like he's gonna be a new bloke where every time Discovery gets damaged, you just see him in the background picking it up and like rebuilding up until it gets broken in the next episode again. Just keep showing him in the background.
That would be a fun running gag to have.
It's like
for
a-
sure.
yeah,
Console rocks. Always console rocks, just in a box. Yep.
Wait, why are there so many rocks on the bridge? I don't understand. It's
Hey,
very
it's a
like
trick
when they got
front,
hit with
that's
the
okay.
torpedo and all those boulders came out of the back. I'm like, what is that? That was like they got to bring that. They got to fix the debris cannon. They got to put some other shit in there. They got to stop
Couple of
putting those
apples or
giant
something,
rocks.
you know, just something
Yeah,
else.
apples or anything. I don't know.
Confetti?
It's very strange.
Make it
Confetti would be better. Yeah, it was. I was like, y'all better duck because that's a big fucking rock coming your way.
At least one bit of debris didn't stab in the second in command's head. Like, I mean, at least that didn't happen.
Well,
that
yeah.
does
That's
happen.
true. That's very
occasionally.
true.
So
Yeah.
for me, the defense platforms, as I said to Stuart, while I don't like the idea of the tech being disconnected, I understand it. It's just not where I would go, but it is future and it's undeniably an effective thing. And I like obviously the idea it's not Federation, but if Starfleet tech, but if the planet has been the home of Federation for 900 years, and only 100 years ago did it leave. I mean, all of our tech all our tech on Earth is based on that tech. So we're not going to suddenly reinvent the wheel after 100 years of losing just being the Federation. So it's obviously still just a hugely derivative Starfleet tech, but that's okay. But yeah, they're good. They're fine. They're nice. They're simple. And I appreciate how small they are. Discovery has a way of overscaling everything to the point of ludicrousy because then you have no relation. You know, those battleships are like the size of the Dominion battleship, which then defeats the point of that being big.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Whereas they were, we saw top view. Discovery's huge, fine, but they were about the same size in terms of a rough sense of scaling. So they are big, but they're not huge. So good job them. They could have made them or cube size.
Ridiculous.
So
Yeah,
another pitfall they did not fall into, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would say that you kind of hit it on the head earlier, which is it's fun to be able to create things that aren't going to impact canon, you know, and or continuity of visualization of the designs and stuff. But it is a challenge to just create something like you just described. Like they have to create technology that is both somewhat pseudo related to Starfleet and the Federation, but also something that's unique enough that is a separate design, but also interprets more modern technology for the era, which sounds like a really daunting task. And I would say like they did a pretty good job with it. I think you're right that they scaled it correctly. And I did like the white designs because it did connect back to the TOS type style era. And they could have went like some kind of like crazy militaristic front, even though that's the way that they acted, but that's not really with the way that the stations kind of looked, the defense platforms, which I thought was really good. Yeah, it's definitely a daunting task, and I don't envy that at all. I think it's both fun, like Burnham's ship was fun looking, but also being like, how do we make this platform look recognizable as EDF technology, which is something they have to create. So it's an interesting thing, and yeah, I think they did pretty good. I'd like to actually see more of it, to be perfectly honest.
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah.
we saw that weird, like when we were we had that zoom out of Starfleet
Francisco.
Academy. Yeah, sorry, San Francisco. And they had that weird like yacht thing in the water. And there was like all these, and I'm like, yeah, the super yacht. And I was like, okay, so Earth seems to be just hanging and banging. There doesn't seem to be too many problems here. They got super yachts and they're doing parties and stuff. And, you know, I don't know what, you know, it seems to be okay. So I was like, I'd like to see a little bit more about what's going on.
Wouldn't it
But
hilarious if
obviously-
there was a party on board as it panned out? Just some people in the background, you
People
know,
are just out there
getting it out
dancing.
there.
Yeah.
Hey, that's where the crew went.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. The one thing I was looking for in that shot was reused Discovery shuttles again.
Oh, yes.
And they didn't have any, so I gave them props for that. But you got to consider that's one scene where a Discovery shuttle would have been appropriate because it would have been a Discovery shuttle taking the crew to and from the planet,
True.
possibly. So I mean, they could have used a Discovery shuttle there, and they didn't.
Thank goodness.
Kudos to them for that. But it's the one scene where it would have been appropriate.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, it would have been in a way. I mean, for Pan out, I said this in our review as well. Thinking of the fact Earth is no longer a part of Starfleet and the Federation, it's when you think of it in a wider scale, it's kind of like, whoa, that's quite a big dramatic change because obviously discounting Enterprise obviously gave us the introduction of Earth joining it. Earth was already Starfleet at that point to a degree. It was Starfleet. Obviously, you rewind previous episodes and it was before that. But yeah, Earth no longer being a part of the Federation or let alone Starfleet now, it's kind of like, whoa, that is a massive change for the Star Trek universe, really, because for the longest we've known Trek, Earth has been arguably the center point of the Federation and the Starfleet Command in a way. Now taking that away, it's different, and it's like it's a lot to think about. Like I was like, whoa, that's a big shock to me personally. It makes sense for the story, but
it was a huge twist for me as well. I did not expect. I expected there to be something that had happened. I think we all were expecting something, but the fact that they were like, no, the Federation Council, probably the Federation President and Starfleet HQ up and left the planet, and we don't know where they went. That I was like, wow, that was a huge twist. I did not expect that at all. Didn't expect it.
Although if you listen to the dialogue, I really liked the subtlety of some of their things. They're giving you clues, but not all of it.
Yeah.
The way they say they left and the way they say not part of it anymore, you know, the captain lady that boards them, she's like, we're not part of it anymore, why would we be? There was no sense of, well, we stopped being a member of the Federation. It was just they left. They didn't try and keep contact with us. So after a while, we just said, I mean, I guess we're on our own then. But not we left, not we stopped. So I get the sense that there's like an emergency clause in their current system where if the Federation comes and they say, hey, can we reactivate you guys, or say, okay, fine. It's cleverly subtle. I think we're going to get that point where we never technically left, even though it's been 90 years and we just sort of, well, they don't care about us.
So land and unpack your stuff, you know, and move right back in.
Yeah. So I
That's
think we're going
right,
to rejoin
yeah.
by the end of the season.
It's like you've fallen out with your partner. Just invite them back in now. It's like you're not on the couch anymore. Come back in.
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you for $10 super chat. No matter what anyone else says, I love the show, especially Saru and Tilly. Yeah, of course, we gotta love Saru and Tilly. Very good characters. Ensign Ricky, thank you for your 2 super chats. So I did miss a minute ago. Oh damn! What's up, Captain Foley and Commander Sam on the panel? And what's up to the rest of you guys? Thank you, Team TrekYards. Of course, Team TrekYards. I love Stuart. I love your background, by the way, and obviously Sam's as well. I love the TrekYards brand that you've got there, especially the patch of the TrekYards badge and the Constitution.
That's nice.
I love that.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm the only one at the minute. Nick, I need you to like redo my office at some point. I'm gonna get you to
You gotta get a background, man.
I've got a green screen, so I'm just sat here with a picture of Discovery at the minute. It's like got rid of the elusive man one this week. And Ricky also said donates $2 and says, "Is it bad as what a Michael and Book show? Don't start on that stuff just yet. We've missed the romance.
I did mention
I'm not
that.
for it."
I did mention that.
That would be interesting, but I'm glad they didn't force like the romantic stuff down our throat this week, because like after one of the trailers, it shows them getting a bit, you know, what's the best word I can use for this? Hands-on, maybe. I'll use that word.
There's going to be something there. Yeah,
it's going to, but I hope it develops more naturally than say Ash and Burnham's relationship, because personally, I'm not a fan of relationships in sci-fi. I'm just like
relationship.
I'm a Vulcan. Let's say that.
Yeah,
but hopefully it develops.
Plot decision.
Yeah, hopefully it develops like more, and you know, it's more genuine, I guess we could say. And I have a feeling it will do.
The unusual thing about that, though, is that they've already spoiled the will they, won't they?
Yeah.
So all of us have seen the trailer and know. So they can play it however the hell they want because we know, and therefore they can just have fun with it. They can take 10 episodes or 4. It doesn't matter to us. And so, I appreciate the slow.
I love how Giorgio alluded to it as he beamed on board as well. Just checking it. It's like when a parent checks out who's dating their daughter.
I liked that. I like that sequence there because she still has this very weird... They have a very interesting dynamic, Burnham and Giorgio. And I like how she's still kind of like protective of her in a lot of ways. And it came out in a couple of different sequences there. But I liked that scene with her in Book where she was kind of like bring in your boyfriend home to meet your parents for the first time kind of thing, you know, and she was giving him the third degree about it. And I like that. I thought that was awkward and funny. Like it was awkwardly funny, and it was I think it was well handled. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah. I like the Book character. I think I was a little worried. I think most of us were probably a little bit like, ugh, another character, another love interest for Michael Burnham. But I would say that, you know, the character is written really well.
Do you know,
he's played really well, and it's done in a way that, like, when he was doing the synthahol thing, like that gag. Like, can you imagine Ash Tyler trying to run that gag? Nothing against Shazad Latif, like nothing against him. It's just that his character wouldn't have been able to pull off that kind of swashbuckler style, and I thought it was just very effective.
I personally love his like British sarcasm. I love when he comes to us like, "Is there anyone else in this ship we can piss off?" I'm like, I love this guy. It's just give me more of him now.
Well, I don't know if you guys would agree, though, just the writings, it all stems from the writing of the characters. I think the writing this season is just better. I think they must have swapped some writers out because it just feels on a different level. And that obviously, therefore, makes the characters better because they write them better.
This episode was written by Bo-Yeon Kim and Eric Lindepool. I'm sorry if I mispronounce their names, I always do it. And also directed by Jonathan Frakes. Now, those two writers, they're also writing the upcoming Section 31 show, which is somewhere in the abyss. So it's a testament to their writing. And most of their episodes of Discovery have been really well written, to be honest. So they're definitely talented writers. Yeah, I can't remember. I've definitely done ones before because that's where we got the gig to write section.
Well, I would say that they probably wrote one of probably very close to the best scene in Star Trek Discovery, which is the final discussion between Burnham and Saru, where she accepts the role as his number one, where he's taking the telescope out.
I love that whole sequence.
And that sequence was really. And she was like, "I should have told you." And he was like, "Yes, you should have." And it was just kind of like a really good, mature, great conversation between two people that I thought in that sequence, like you could feel the fact that they'd known each other for a very long time. Like the actors did great. The writing was really good in that sequence. The way that the dialogue was kind of going back and forth, and her kind of just acknowledging the fact that she's not the same person, but she's going to work to get back to who she, somebody new, with somebody who's pulling in back in those Starfleet ideals mixed with the things that she's learned over the last year. And I thought it was really interesting. I thought that was really well done. So I think it's probably one of the best sequences of Discovery so far, like in terms of scenes, just between characters.
I like the way they tied that in with Giorgio as well. So like you're saying, you had a taste of freedom, Michael. Like freedom you never thought you'd have. Mm-hmm. Why are you still on Discovery? Because they're having the conversation in the hall. Why are you on Discovery, Giorgio? Why are you still here?
Yeah.
It's great because she even said, you learned a little bit from your walkabout. I like that. The fact that she has seen things in Michael now that she likes is kind of scary considering she's Space Hitler. And how she's going to use Burnham in that. Like, I think she has some kind of, I don't know, devious.
And I just IMDb them because see what else they did. They basically wrote Brightest Star and then the follow up in the main season, but they didn't write much else. There was story editors, so this is one of their first writing credits. They just helped on those. But Brightest Star is pretty good, and then the follow up is okay. So they definitely like Saru because they've done the Saru episodes.
Definitely,
they like Saru, they like Giorgio, and I think that's why they had a lot of good sequences. Like Stuart, you're just saying, like that sequence between the two of them in the hallway where they were kind of going back and forth a little bit there. Giorgio has always been kind of like their dynamic is always very interesting to me because it's like this weird mother-daughter type thing, but they're also not. That's not her Giorgio, that's not her Burnham, but it's good. I liked their interactions a lot.
Can we appreciate the fact Giorgio, of all the uniforms she had to get the Admiral's uniform? I mean,
Stuart has a good point on this.
That bugged me to no end. I was as Saru, I would be so pissed off because if it turned out that the United Earth wanted to speak to the person in charge, she's the admiral. She automatically would be the person they'd be talking to, and you know that she's got ulterior motives. So I would have been pissed as Saru to find out that she had done the admiral thing.
And she could order them in front of him, and he'd have to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think at the time he was just too busy with everything else.
Well, yeah.
Everything else is kicking off. It's like, who's wearing what? Never mind, we're being shot at,
Well, I think it's interesting. You bring up an interesting point because, like we talked about earlier, like eventually they're going to meet up with the remnants of Starfleet / Federation. That's obvious. But is she going to still try to pull the Admiral card? Or at that point, are they going to be like, will you take that damn thing off and go put your black leather back on or whatever it is that you're supposed to be wearing? I don't know. It's interesting because there is a scene in one of the trailers where she's still wearing the Admiral uniform and she's like, let's see how this plays out or something like that. So she's clearly going to be wearing it again at some point.
I think she might.
So interesting.
I'm pretty sure there's another scene. I can't remember if it's an episode, but in one of the trailers, you can see her wearing the uniform with the Admiral's badge, and she says, this looks like it's going to be fun, or this is going to be fun, or something like that. That wasn't in this episode, was it? I don't think she said that in this episode.
No, she didn't. That's what
alludes to the fact it's going to be, well, presumably unless it's been cut, it's going to be in another episode at some point with her wearing that uniform. I mean, they've obviously got quite a few episodes still to play with, so I can't wait until we meet up with the actual remnant of Starfleet and the Federation, to be honest, because that is going to be interesting. We know they do because we've seen who looks like to be the commanding officer or a commanding officer on the Discovery's knockoff Ready Room AK Science,
and they all get the new Delta badges and everything too. So they're going to get those from somewhere.
Let's talk about
John Calling right now are going to have personal transporters in them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You get a transporter, and you get a transporter, and you get a transporter.
Everyone gets a transporter. Yeah, absolutely.
$5 at Target. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just using programmable matter to do whatever they want. Yeah. Too bad they can't use programmable matter to make dilithium.
No, Nick, for plots, don't say that.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about our new character a minute. Now, this is played by Blue Del Barrio, and this is the character of Adira, who was introduced in this episode. And yeah, a really good introduction. And personally, I love the scene between them and Lieutenant Stamets as well. That scene there, very interesting how they feel about it. So I know what you're doing, and they're up there in the Jeffries tube playing around or something, sabotaging it. The way that was set up there is kind of like, so they sabotage the ship in order to buy time to stay on board it in a way. Kind of interesting how that element played out, and then they decided to stay on board the Discovery as well because they have, they are Trill, or we have the symbiote, and we're not Trill, they have the symbiote, and they have Admiral Tal there. That was, I think, it lost some viewers at that point because I feel like almost crammed in at the end there slightly. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that, Sam and Stuart? What do you guys think about that element of the new character?
Well, first of all, I like the reveal that she was actually the Admiral. First, she knew the Admiral, and she is. So that was really well done. I didn't expect that.
So out of left field.
Yeah. So what was the question exactly that you had there?
What do you think?
Yeah, I've liked the reveal and also,
character?
Just the character in general. Yeah.
I wish she wasn't 16. That's not a huge issue, but
it's Space Future 16, it's really like 34.
True. People have been making the argument, well, she's human, why would she have a Trill? That went bad for Riker and TNG. But as far as I'm concerned, medical tech and weapons tech are the ones that evolve the fastest in time.
Yeah.
So, like that far in the future, I have no issue with a Trill being able to be in a human. So
yeah, if you can go from the
I don't think she's going to have the Trill after the next episode. So
yeah, if you can go from 31st century down to the Delta Quadrant back in Voyage of Relativity, of course you can put a Trill into a human and not have either die. Of course,
right? Exactly.
Time tech is much harder than that. But I was already hoping they wouldn't be a negative vibe, the Earth Defense Force, whereas it could have been, the uniforms, while are sort of reminiscent of Star Trek 2's vibe, they're also kind of like militaristic, overly militaristic. It's an interesting.
Yeah.
Once you know their tone, it softens in your own brain, but you can see them as more militaristic. So it could have been more dark, but I appreciate the sort of lightness. That said, that Stamets scene, the sudden juxtaposition of darker to here's some comedy music, awful edit. Very, very poor. But once you accept it's now a comedy scene, it's like, okay, these guys are great. And obviously this can be one of, what has Stamets really got to do in this show anymore? His role has always been very specific, and he's just kind of there. And so I think this new character will fit in with him and Tilly as they're kind of they're the characters that play together. And obviously Tilly was, if you go by Star Trek Online canon, which Mary Wiseman voiced, she was pulled out of the academy before she even finished to go on Discovery, and therefore she was that young genius as well, or at least very good at engineering. So she sees this character and like, damn it, I'm being replaced by an even smarter, because the future, even younger character. Well, I hope this person's not, she didn't seem that geniusy. I mean, you can put a thing in a console, okay, good. It wasn't rocket science. And the knowledge that was given by the Trill makes her extra knowledgeable, but it was more of a, where could it go, rather than she's just going to be the genius that solves everything, which is nice. It was a likable character that could go anywhere or nowhere.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there about her scene with Stamets, which was a really great scene. I really enjoyed that scene a lot. But you're right to say, like, the edit where they kind of stuck it in between, like, everyone like freaking out on the bridge and screaming at the top of their lungs at Saru about trying to fix the whatever problem, and then they cut down to the whimsical sequence. It was like, okay, this is that's probably one of the things that I was like, this is kind of a weird cut. But the scene itself was really great, and I really enjoyed the interaction there. And I thought the actress did a fantastic job. And I thought the two characters interacting together were really well done. And I'm glad that, like you said, like it wasn't, it was a light tone. It was a bit comedic in nature. It was very, very light. And I appreciated that, because Discovery has always been kind of like, oh my gosh, but this one was just like, hey, why did you put that thing in that console and, I don't know, literally strand all of your people here? It was just kind of like this fun, like whimsical sequence. And I enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing more of this character.
I hope
it looks like we're going to get more of that next episode. But
I hope they really develop well. Like, you almost see one thing I love is their curiosity as well. It's like, what does a spore drive cube do? Why is this linked to the bridge as well? Stamets conveniently going, oh, we do calculations. I don't know. But hopefully the next episode
should know about, given this the future. Well, how does she
Hopefully,
not know? How can they have it if they're that old? Weird.
Exactly.
Right.
We'll speculate
Was it
on
just
episode
us?
4 in a minute as well. Sorry, Stu, you say?
Was it just us, or did he give away a little bit too much information to her?
All of it.
Considering the
Okay.
situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a question. I have a question for you guys. And maybe I misunderstood this. So obviously, when they first meet the EDF, Saru concocts a lie because he doesn't trust these people, and he's right to do so because
It's good
that
line.
lady's
Quick, good line.
crazy.
Good on him.
Yes, thinking on his feet. But then Stamets reveals the whole truth immediately to her, which is again not a big deal. But at the end of the episode, when she, decides to join the Discovery, it wasn't clear to me if it had finally been revealed to the EDF the truth of how they got there. Did you guys pick that? Like, I feel like the captain still knows about the lie, but now she knows the truth, and now there's a bit of a disconnect. Or do you guys think that they had that conversation off screen?
I think it's likely off screen.
I think. I think the United Earth doesn't know what happened. I think it's just the symbiote at this point, because she was looking for Starfleet, and it's going to be its own thing. They don't know about that. I don't think.
Well, the whole game was that Stamets is playing the knowing parent card. I know what you did, and if I tell you my secret, you can't. If you tell my secret, I'll tell your secret. And at the end, it's clear they don't know the deal that she's got Trill in her. Clearly, otherwise he wouldn't give approval. So I think it's kind of we've each got a secret. We'll each concoct something. So I think it's done. I think they'll reveal it by the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine they'd know, because if they knew who they really were, they might say, well, it's the Discovery. Oh my god, a spore drive. Oh, can we have the ship?
Yeah, we'll
Etc.
borrow this.
Whereas it kind of worked the way it did, and there would be, you'd think, a bit more reverence at the end of our well, thanks for stopping by, Saru, Captain, rather than, oh my god, time. Because remember, time travel's banned. Like, they could theoretically go to space jail. You know what I mean? Like, there's more to it.
Space cops are coming. Yeah.
So I can't imagine they know.
I personally got the impression Captain Noida didn't really care that much, because she's like, just leave the planet now. We don't want you around.
Also
till
possible.
involved.
Well, we're not
like,
Starfleet, so why should we care?
Yeah, it's like, we're just interested in protecting our own planet. We don't care where you've come from or what you're doing. Get out.
A nice ambiguity then. It could be either. We'll find out.
It's like, yeah, you saw.
We will find out. Yeah, we will. I was just curious what your guys' impressions were. I had the impression that they didn't reveal it yet, that they still believe the lie, and it'll have to come out later, or it won't, because ultimately, I mean, if they don't go back to Earth, I assume that they will, but if they don't really interact with the EDF too much, then ultimately it doesn't really matter, because their ultimate goal is to find Starfleet and the Federation. It wasn't necessarily just to find Earth. They thought they were going to kill two birds with one stone there, but clearly the adventure is going on. So I was just curious what your interpretations were there at the end.
So before we jump to what I think is going to be some episode 4 discussion in a minute for our next episode. Hello, thank you for your donation. In season 1, episode 3, Context of the Kings, one of the prisoners mentions on the Talon that the dilithium went, is it piezoelectric? Whatever that word is, which could be a clue to the burn. I'd have to check back to that, but that's
pre-TOS, pre-TNG, and pre all those things. So definitely well before.
I don't think so. I mean, it's possible. There was also, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Zahians created like some kind of dilithium chamber recrystallizing capability or whatever. That may potentially come back up as maybe one of the reasons that it kind of fell apart. But I think it's going to be something completely unique. There's going to be some other thing that has never been mentioned before. And it's going to be probably some kind of accident from time travel or a nefarious entity that caused all the dilithium to go up or something like that. But I don't think it's going to happen.
In a corner, just is accidentally fucked it up,
Yeah, that's right,
guys.
It should have been a 1, not a 0. Oh, God!
Oh, no, what have I done? So let's talk about episode 4. So this is airing this coming week on the 5th of November for CBS All Access, etc. And also the next day for International. This episode is titled Forget Me Not. It is episode 4 of season 3. It is written by Alan McElroy, Chris Silvestri, and Anthony Manaville, and is directed by Hannah Culpepper. Now, she also directed the opening episodes of Star Trek Picard as well, which is something interesting to note, and those are those premiere episodes. So, gentlemen, I'll go to TrekYards first. What do you guys think about the upcoming episode? So far, the trailer, it's been alluded we might be visiting Trill, and I think that's pretty concrete at this point, but take it away, gentlemen. What do you think is going to happen?
Like I said, I think they're going to try to access those Trill memories that she's having issues accessing, which is a nice. It's nice that she can't access it like perfectly because she's not Trill. I love that. You're going to get linked in through the pools. It looks like Michael Burnham is in there as well. So
she's the main character after all.
You have to have her figure everything out and put the puzzle pieces together, because that's just the way it works.
That's Discovery. That's it. That's the show.
And I think the symbiote's going to get passed to the other new character that's coming into the show. So yeah, I don't have a lot of vibe as to what's going to happen next week. It's just going to be very Trill-centric.
Yes.
And I don't want to see Dax. Everybody says, see Dax. I don't need to
No
see
Dax.
Please.
No Dax.
Yeah.
We can hear about the Dax symbiote off doing something as one of their elders, and that's it.
A mention of it will go down perfectly fine, but I think
Still alive or not, that's it.
I
Yeah,
think
right.
if it was
Yeah.
meant to be that the symbiote she's carrying is Dax, it's gonna be like almost shoehorning to a convenient way. Anyway, I'm like, unless it fits the story, I don't think it should be like that. So also the new character is going to be introduced is called Grey. They're played by Ian Alexander, and presumably they'll be introduced in the next episode. I think that's kind of a given, to be honest. But yeah, this episode definitely looks like it's going to be Trill-centric. Whether this is the planet of Trill or a colony of Trills, kind of undecided just yet. Probably it's going to be Trill. But what leads from there is going to be, I guess, does Discovery even know where Trill is? I guess that's an interesting question.
Well, so I would say that they probably are going to get some.
True.
Yeah, I was going to say sphere data. Maybe they're going to get some star chart information from the EDF. They'll kind of have like a throwaway line, like our new updated star charts from
Maybe
the
Mr.
EDF.
Sahil has some
help
stuff
us.
they can borrow.
Well, to be fair,
Yeah.
if the Trill inside the character
Also, yeah,
knows
she
where-
probably knows.
Yeah, they probably have research, at least
They
5 minutes worth of
probably know, yeah.
research.
They
Google,
probably know
Trill
where it is.
location. Okay, download.
Yeah.
Probably not the hardest
Face
thing.
Google.
Just if they're pulling up to a starbase. Excuse me, can you point in a direction, please? We need to jump there. Then again,
Is that Spore Drive? No, it's not Spore
no,
Drive.
it's a fancy warp drive. Look at that. It's just close.
Yeah.
Well, no
Oh.
dilithium though. No.
Can we
No,
appreciate
no lithium here.
Book's response to his reaction to the spore drive as well? So you didn't tell me about the spinning stuff, and it's like everyone's like,
Yeah.
"What? You madman! What are you doing?"
Well, I'm not sure you can actually see the spinning disc from the bridge though,
Yeah.
especially from that angle. It's not really how that window looks, but oh well.
Does it
It was a good.
does it
Okay.
sort of look
Ship
down on the
does
saucer
that,
though?
whole ship spins, though.
Yeah, but
But you
it's
wouldn't
a
feel that,
turn.
though, would you?
It's more of a. You wouldn't.
I don't think he can feel it, but he probably is aware that maybe he saw like a glimpse of it kind of quickly turning as it was about to. I don't know. We don't know.
It takes
how
a
it looks.
second and a half. But it's just like Giorgio, calling out the spores as being stupid. It's like they're actually doing meta jokes to the audience. Like, yeah, it's dumb. It spins. Yeah, it's dumb. He goes to mushrooms, and we're saying it's dumb too. Moving on, and that's good.
Moving on.
All
That's
in the
right.
same boat
On
at the
to
end
the
of the
next
day.
thing.
We know.
Yeah,
we know what Brian did in season 1. Moving on.
So
That's
I've,
right.
I've just got the synopsis for Get Me Not Here. It says Burnham and Adira visit the Trill homeworld
spoilers.
while Saru's efforts on the Discovery to help the crew reconnect yield surprises. So it's while Saru's efforts on the Discovery to help the crew reconnect yield surprises. That's interesting. I don't know what that means. I think Dr. Culber's back
yeah.
in this episode as well. So
Which is good. We missed him in the last one,
Yes.
but I would say that obviously they're going to probably go there and obviously to an attempt to unlock the memories so that they can figure out where the last known location direction of the Federation / Starfleet was in order to continue on with the adventure. So I like the fact that at this point, again, because we don't have this huge, complex, impending doom construct, they're on a simple mystery investigation, and the next logical step with their next lead is this. So it's there's no plot issues. Like, it's a very sound construct, very linear. Like, we went from here to here, now we're going to go here, and we're going to keep going from there. So I like that. I appreciate the simplicity of it, and I assume it'll get big towards the end, but I like how we're slowly building up to it, as opposed to like season 1 where the worst happened immediately, and then season 2 where the Red Angel was jumping around and we had to figure it out and everything was all over the place immediately. This one is a much slower, more purposeful build, and I feel like they're going to earn their big complex issue towards the end, and I think they're slowly building up to that. So I appreciate it. I think it's
And what's
good.
nice about taking that simple steps, you actually get time for the other characters, which 7.5 times out of 10 are not given
What?
the time of day. Yeah.
What? There's other
And-
characters on
I
the
mean-
show?
And what's nice about this season as well, while I think these 3 episodes are obviously not representative of the entire season. Episode 1 was just these 2 characters. 1 was just the other crew, but also in a repair sense. And 3 is everything in between. There isn't a normal episode yet. We haven't got the Pike and Spock to kind of pull time away from. While obviously great, they pulled so much time. Whereas now there is no primary except Burnham and Saru, and they're kind of somewhat sharing the spot. Obviously, Michael always has the 10 out of 10 presence, but Saru's definitely more. But the rest of the crew should now, as we've said since season 1, we even said to them at Vegas, like, can we get you more lines? I feel like now they're going to give everyone more to do, because they're not. There isn't that new. Like even Book, he left. You know? And honestly, back to Giorgio for a second, I think Giorgio is somewhat wasted on the ship because she's an awful Starfleet officer who represents everything wrong with them. But in this universe, if she was to leave and try and help them by going out and being, in a sense, a mercenary, I can see her leaving for, say, 4 episodes, 5 episodes, and then coming back with some useful help. And she'd be better suited doing that than just making snarky comments for no, without really adding much on the ship. And then give more time to the real characters do more real things. So I think that's the balance we're going to see. And it's good. Give the characters more to do. They were great actors, they're great people. They've just never been given stuff to do, really.
I think she's biding her time for something, to be honest. Like, she's going to seek an opportunity to go, well, I'll step off here, see you all later. And then maybe she'll come back. And maybe it's going to be one of those moments where it's like they're in a tense battle or standoff towards the final episode and she just comes out of nowhere. It'd be a bit cliche in a way, but it'd be funny to a degree. But yeah, I hope definitely the bridge crew get more lines and stuff to do. We are seeing that in the episodes already, particularly when Discovery first comes through. You see, Sue asking everyone for status reports, even in this episode as well. It's like asking Bryce for comms, etc. I think Burnham already talks to him at one point when she comes onto the bridge. She asks Bryce to play it. So we're already featuring these other characters. Obviously, the end sequence of a giant tree, basically, show that as well. I saw that tree was green screen, and so I was like, oh my god, they couldn't get a real tree. It's like, well, we can't find many 900-year-old trees in Toronto to film with, so... was kind of funny.
The tree sequence bothered me.
Did it?
It did, and it's for kind of a stupid reason. But there's a shot of that same exact physical location inside of Star Trek Picard. It's the exact same angle, which is fine. Recycling the shot is fine.
Well,
that I don't have a problem
That
with.
was a season 2 shot anyway from Discovery.
No, there's one in Picard. There's one in Picard as well.
Which episode?
I'd have to go back and pull up the episode list here. I have it in my messages here. But yeah, there was a shot of that same angle, and the tree wasn't there.
Well, I think it's... yeah.
And I know that sounds really dumb.
That's what you mean,
right. The tree itself wasn't there, and it makes me...
I hadn't invented it yet.
Well, the thing is that the tree was already supposed to be there, and it's like
Nick.
They could have put the freaking tree anywhere, but they were like, "What if we put it in a place that we already showed people where it wasn't?" And
what? No, what's it
just
that matter? We've just magically made a 900-year-old tree and put it there. Problem solved. There you go. Plot.
Nick, are you saying Discovery and Picard don't listen to canon? Are you saying just invent stuff that doesn't fit? Really?
I'm saying
That's
that
shocking.
they could have put it anywhere. It would have been. The thing that bums me about it is it would have been a really fun Easter egg connection to have that tree in that simple shot of Picard.
Yeah.
And then we see it again later, and it's like, oh, what a fun, simple little connection between the two shows. But
or if they just flown them down to film at Botanical Gardens in LA, like the actual Starfleet Academy building, that would have been even better. But at least they didn't just reuse the same shot from Discovery Season 2 and then Picard Season 1 of the exact same frame of San Francisco. Just reuse it for a third time. At least they did make a new one. It's the same scene file, you can tell with the tree.
It's a different. It's
different buildings.
Right.
And
it is different
better.
buildings.
So at least they didn't do the same lazy thing for a third time.
No, it was better. It was better. It's just
we do have a canon answer to that, Nick. Starfleet Boy says the tree was on tour during those shots previously, so obviously they were out in the
Is that famous?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Signing autographs.
Maybe it was on. Maybe the tree was
know.
on Chateau Picard. Maybe it was just there the whole time.
Picard he put it on the vineyard. Okay,
that's why Raffi was really jealous. He got the damn tree. I don't care.
He nicked the tree and left.
Other stuff, but the tree.
The tree at the tree.
Do you reckon that's what you resigned from Starfleet and Admiral? So what do you want? I'll have the tree. Are you sure?
Severance packages the tree. Yeah.
I'll just have the whole tree.
I'll leave, but I'm taking the tree with me.
Now, Ozzy said the tree was
Get
cloaked in Picard, so maybe the tree has a cloaking device. Maybe it's a Klingon tree,
But Jean-Luc, Boothby's remains are buried underneath it. I don't care. I want it anyway.
Beam it up!
Beam it up. Yeah, beam it up. Yeah, beam it up. Yeah.
So yeah,
anyways, that's
So obviously the tree has irritated you for this episode, has it?
It was just a missed opportunity that they could have easily not have screwed up, especially considering it's the same overarching creative team between all of the shows. Like, you guys couldn't have figured that out, but whatever.
I think it's a minor detail the average viewer won't notice.
It is. This is.
Yeah,
we're talking.
This is us.
Look at the crew. Look at the team that we're dealing with here. Like, we get into the nits and the grits here.
But can I call out, that's not a nitpick. That's a logical two-step cohesive point. They just didn't invent it at the time, therefore they couldn't add it.
Yeah.
But it's not a nitpick.
Yes.
It's just, well, if it, it's a good, I didn't even consider that. It's a good job.
When they do the Blu-ray re-release of Picard, they should digitally re-add the tree. They'll fix it later.
I said they should. They couldn't release the Blu-ray of Picard without actually adding, like, replacing the Picard ships with finished models, and they didn't. So let's not give them that much credit. They kept in the unfinished ones that look awful. So
don't worry, that'll be the re-release. They'll keep charging us more
anniversary
money.
edition. Yeah,
the anniversary edition.
We're back
That's
here
right.
in 10 years' time. You know.
Yeah,
the 8K. It'll be in the future. They'll beam it right to your mind.
Wasn't filmed at 8K. Doesn't matter. Upscale.
Is it like
Yeah,
where
upscale
George
it.
Lucas keeps coming back and modifying his films?
Exactly.
Wes
Kurtzman
Kurtzman always comes back. It's like,
Kurtzman's
more
gonna keep
Ewoks.
doing it. That's
Ewoks.
right. More Ewoks. Make them blink.
More mini repair droids that make no sense.
Yeah.
On Voyager. Let's put on Voyager. I've got control of Voyager now.
Yeah, you know.
Fix everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Someone said, Starfleet says Picard remaster may happen before DS9. Just give us DS9 remastered, yeah.
That's you're not wrong about that. That's probably gonna happen.
With the quality these days, imagine like in 20, 30 years' time when we're going to be remastered. I don't want to think about it, to be honest. Christ, that's a long time away. Scaring myself now.
But can I just remind you guys that one season of Discovery would have cost the exact same to remaster all of DS9 or Voyager. Just to remind you guys, that's the official number that's generated by the team that Della remasters. So they could have done it for the cost of one season of their new shows.
Yeah, obviously.
Take that in for a second.
When it comes to remastering shows, you've got to. It's whether the new, like, in terms of business, it's like whether it'll be good to sell to new viewers, not just the older viewers as well. It's something to take into account.
They could be waiting too for the technology to get better so that it is cheaper to do, because it's constantly being improved upon. So they could be waiting for that
particularly
too.
with a lot of this AI tech that's coming through now. You know, we see it a bit on YouTube as well, where it's digitally reconstructing scenes using machine learning, etc. So
Go back to the original footage though. You wouldn't digitally AI the live action. You have to redo all. You would never AI the visual effects. That'd be a waste of everyone's time.
No, yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is,
cheap.
as this tech develops, it's going to be more for CBS. Going on second thought, you know. I mean, it's pretty clear when we look at what CBS or Viacom CBS are doing right now. They're definitely, putting their foot firmly down, establishing Star Trek. We've been going since roughly 2017 was when Discovery first came along. Yeah, so that's obviously when their first major step through. So we're just only in 22. We're only 3 years into their big grand master plan. So obviously, with the rollout of Paramount Plus, is it called next year? I think whatever it's called, Paramount International, should we say? That's obviously another big step for them. I expect maybe by 2022, when things are firmly cemented down, we've got international rollout, all the shows are back into schedule running around. Then these auxiliary projects like remastering DS9 or Voyager might be more like beneficial and go, actually, no, we can spend money on that now and do it because we've got everything else running like clockwork. It would make more sense to commit to projects like this. From a business point of view, it would make more sense in my mind, at least.
Well, what I pitched to Stuart years ago is the easiest thing to get this done would just be, okay, originally what is All Access, okay, Paramount Plus. They say if we can hit 5 million people a month, we'll remaster one season, and every new million people, which will be many millions a year or a month, will remaster one new season. Therefore, their goals are directly linked to remastering. Because if it's just money, then the old fans will actually just join All Access just to get the new season of remastered, and therefore it goes on all platforms and boom, done. Like, it's easy if they sold it that way, and they could make the money back instantly, pretty much.
I think that there would be a huge backlash to that idea.
Yeah.
People think that CBS was coercing them, bribing them into paying for CBS All Access, so that they would then give you what you want.
Then they get it for free though, because it'd be out on all streaming services. So once you've got a Netflix or CBS, it'll be free, so you get the entire season.
I think that you're underestimating the level of
it's a hard
hatred that people have for CBS.
You can see the clickbait thumbnail.
Oh yeah.
It's
Don't
like crowdfunding
underestimate.
though, in a sense. It's like you support us and we'll keep.
It's going to be CBS is broke. They're trying to exploit us for more money. Don't we give you enough already? That's going to be a disaster.
Card is cancelled for the 50th time.
They need money.
Right, exactly. They're trying to crowd. Right. I mean, they did the whole. Alex Kurtzman released a video to do like a fundraiser video for like some event or whatever it was, and it was like if you donate or $10,000 or something like that, you get a walk-on role for Picard and something like that. Yeah. This was a while back, and people were like, "Oh, he's doing this because they can't get the money for Picard, and he needs all the money he can get." And it's like, what are you talking about?
Every time there's a new big Star Wars film come out, they do that partnership with that company or charity. I can't remember now.
Amaze.
Yeah, it's Amaze, where you go like you spend how many lottery tickets or raffle tickets, and you could perhaps get a walk on roll. You get invited to premieres, or exclusive call with Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill. That's it. None of that money goes to the production company. That's not how it works. It's to a charity. Obviously, they're getting promotion out of it to a degree. But it's like, imagine thinking that. You just have to be really short sighted, or really in need of a clickbait thumbnail.
Also, yes,
we don't like clickbait.
No,
Trek does not like clickbait.
No.
Do real topics.
Yeah.
Real discussions, real topics. Welcome to Trek Central Live.
Less
right,
views, more stability and trust in audience.
There you go.
Content creators.
That comes down to, yeah, trust in content creators is like, yeah, I guess that's a fucking live stream discussion in its own right.
Yeah.
We could be for hours discussing that one. But yeah, I suppose rounding this off as well, as we've approached our hour mark. Obviously, episode 4, we've had our theories about that. But gentlemen, if I could get a couple of comments off you, what do you think about the whole season, where we're going with, Discovery Season 3? Do you have any theories or things you think might possibly appear or happen in Discovery Season 3? Stuart, I'm going to go to you first. What do you think? Anything that's going to stick out?
It's a good question. I wish you'd go to Samuel first.
I can go to Sam first if you want.
I want to know what Nick thinks first, to be honest.
I would say
passing the buck.
All the way around.
I know, seriously. Yeah. Anyway, Jack, what do you think now?
Yes, thank
Well,
you.
actually,
Yeah,
what
I was
I-
hoping for that.
What I can say, thank you to Hilarious since who just became a new Kuman, aka YouTube member for channel. Guys, if you don't become YouTube members, you can support Trek Central over here. It helps us out in producing God knows what content we usually do, like these live streams, and also getting new equipment, which we're changing up soon, so expect to see that. Is it my question now? What am I thinking?
Yes, all the way back to you.
You
What do you think?
buggers. So, I don't know, to be honest. There's a few theories I have, which I'm going to keep to myself for a minute. I've always been a big shout about the Vidrash. I think something's going to happen with them. The offhand mentions so far, I think they're going to pop up somewhere. I said this last week. We've done a video on it as well. I really think they're going to pop up somewhere. Maybe not as the main antagonist, but definitely there is an element of them out there. They were mentioned in Calypso. They've been backwards, now mentioned in Discovery as well by Zara last episode. They are definitely out there doing something. We are hopefully going to run into them at some point. They wouldn't have been mentioned unless we were planning to somewhat either mention them again or cameo run into them in my mind. So I reckon we're going to see them or some element of a rogue type of Federation, something that's off-split from our main good guy Starfleet Federation. And it's going to be like what happens if you don't follow the ideals like, Discovery or Mr. Sahil. You break away from Federations. Let's do everything good and be polite to each other. That's my theory.
One theory I have is in regards to Calypso, because it was the best of the short treks in my opinion, and it's kind of that outlier. Like what's going on with that? I have a theory that they're going to spore jump Discovery back in time 1,000 years, nestle it in a nebula, say we'll be right back, wait here, and they need to develop the AI on the ship.
From the spore data, it'll evolve, etc.
And literally, they're going to show up the next day. Discovery's still going to be there. Craft has come and gone, and we're going to find out exactly why that was done. The ship was sitting for 1,000 years. It fits too nicely to not be tied in some overarching scheme. So that's kind of the thing that I've been speculating on, because I really want to see the whole Calypso thing revisited, because that was a great short.
Oh, yeah.
And I really need it to tie in with everything else, because they tied in the Brightest Star, they've tied in all the other ones pretty much.
Although we know Calypso was never designed to be tied into specifically, but it could be retroactively said, well, we've got this little playground to play with. How can we relink it? Which is great. Which is, they didn't know where they were going, because they rewrote the season as they were going, so they clearly didn't have it laid out, but they can put it back in.
That's one thing I see happening this season is, and I think it's going to tie in too with Giorgio and the Section 31 show, because she's eventually got to get back in time to do the Section 31 show, if that's the thing.
Or future Section 31.
Going to be something going on with that, and it's going to tie in with Craft and the Calypso short. So
awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to come to a thing where they have to let the AI develop, and they're going to be like, well, somebody has to jump the ship back. Somebody's going to have to do it, or it's going to some contrived reason and she'll be like, I'll do it. You guys don't need me here in the future anyways. Y'all have got it. I'm not really a part of this crew. Michael, I love you. I'll see you later. And then she jumps back, goes and pops off with Shazad Latif, and they go do Section 31, and she leaves the ship. So wait, it's going to jump away, and then they're going to turn around, and it'll be in the nebula. And it'll be sitting there where they needed it to be. I think that's 100% going to happen. The only other thing that I hope to see in this season is I want to see a new bad guy. I don't want a reshot of Borg or Romulans or Klingons or Cardassians or the Dominion. I want a new bad guy. I know everybody likes an original villain. Everybody says, oh, the Dominion, let's go. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I would prefer just a brand new, fresh villain, a new bad, whether that's a whole race or just a single being or even an entity. I'm cool with an entity as well. Like, I would just like that. That's what I would
We've
like.
spoken about this before on, because you know Discovery's in the 32nd century and the burn has occurred, which obviously decimated most of the Federation. There's a large playground to play with. And we've spoken before, Discovery's definitely obviously getting its season 4 and 5. That means there's still 2 seasons, presumably to plan around and play with this idea. This season doesn't have to massively wrap up the overarching story.
Correct.
So they could do one of the old classic Trek things of introducing a villain at the very end going, oh, ha ha ha, I was behind it the whole time. Could be Vidrage, for example, or some villain who was responsible for the burn in some way. And then obviously, the next season involves Discovery, trying to restore or fight them off at the same time. They've got the room to play with that now because we're not confined to traditional canon in a way. You don't have to worry about, encroaching on other things in a way. The playground for Discovery is very open field at the minute. So there's also a possibility for something like that to happen towards the end of season 3. It depends how you want to play it and if they want to take the story overarching or continue these almost season-long stories in a way. It really depends how you want to play it.
Yeah, I don't want to see a villain though, just because we've seen that and they come and go so quickly. I mean, we saw the AIs from outside the galaxy that meant nothing at the end of Picard. They meant nothing at the end of the day. So I kind of like if this season is all about this is just the galaxy and there's enough mini conflicts to deal with where we are just trying to bring order and bring positivity back to this universe and finding the mystery. And then at the end of the season, it's revealed that yes, Starfleet accidentally caused the burn by just simply trying to design more dilithium that would work for everybody, and they then ruined the entire galaxy by accident. That then, well, if that ever gets out, etc. But you've now got this there's so much, especially since we've got the idea that we can obviously go between quadrants, and presumably the Federation has gone into most of the quadrants, so is the entire galaxy worth of whatever. And so what would happen if it got out that the Federation caused the burn? You can imagine that maybe a race in whatever quadrant might just transwarp in, whatever. So I'd feel like if there's no villain, it's more about the crew, the galaxy, setting it up, and as you say, talk about maybe some antagonists on the outer rim, or that the quadrants are so much easier to get to. Then the next season, if we get that, it's really like a full season, is expensive and whatever, leading into that. Especially if every season's been about just Michael and friend fighting an enemy with crew that are just there. Let this have a season just the crew, kind of like TNG stories of the week, where the crew's doing their good thing and you really get to appreciate them. This is the reboot of Discovery.
Yeah,
a fresh. This should have been season 1. This could have been a
yes.
Let's just start season 1 of the new Discovery and just let it live itself. And I just like the simple reveal of it was us. We just didn't mean to, And I'm sure Starfleet will be a bit more militaristic, whatever. Maybe there's an arm of it doing the right thing for the wrong reason, or the wrong thing for the right reason, etc. There'll be a semi-antagonist, just like with this last episode. Those raiders weren't bad; they weren't villains; they were antagonists.
Yeah.
So we can negotiate, we can work forward. That's the Star Trek ideals that this show is sort of slowly presenting forward again. And I really hope that's going to be a unique take for the season. We don't need a third or a fourth catastrophic destroy the universe plot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be ironic if Section 31 is actually the good guys in the future?
Oh God!
Because they upheld what they were there for, to uphold the beliefs of the Federation, and Starfleet's actually kind of the questionable one. But Section 31 is the one that's and Giorgio, I mean, she's already in Section 31, so it'd make a perfect little fit. Who knows? There's a lot that could happen.
Yeah,
could go anywhere, and that's the fun of it. Unlike Red Angel, where it's kind of like, oh, it's like, oh,
right. This could go anywhere.
So,
and it's interesting.
And we know it wasn't rewritten halfway through like the other 2 seasons were. So this is actually going to be a full story that wasn't altered drastically. So it'll actually be a full start and end. It's really exciting. First time it's happened since Enterprise.
Yeah,
exciting.
It's something to think about. So Amir donates $5 via YouTube Super Chat, and he goes, the Q finally passed the judgment on humanity. Yes. It's really sick of everyone. It's like, right, that's it. Click.
They snapped all the dilithium out. Actually, that would be an interesting twist. That would be interesting.
Try and annoy us now.
And he brings it right back. Yeah. It's interesting.
It's just John Delancey. He's not aged. He just comes back in again. It's like, hey, look at this. It's like, we're done with your Q stuff. Go away. Your Q bullshit.
Burnham, you remind me of this woman I knew called Mariner. You're very similar. Just very similar. Yeah, I liked her. I like you too, I think.
I'm going to restore the galaxy. See you later.
Yeah. Bye. Here's Mariner in live action for the past. Hey.
Oh my gosh, it's Johnny Newsom.
Awesome.
That would be, Jesus, that would definitely turn heads as an ending, wouldn't it? Oh my God, I can think about that now. Well, gentlemen,
just warps in.
I think we've discussed everything today. Did anybody have anything additionally to discuss? But I think we've covered most of it, haven't we?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well,
Very good.
Stuart and Samuel, for our viewers, where can they find you on YouTube? Tell us a bit about what you do, just so some of our Trek Central viewers may not know who you are or may not know what you do. Where can we find you?
Just look us up on YouTube, TrekYards, all one word, no capital Y either. Saying.
Oh, easy cut out.
Of all the times.
Or-
All the times.
I know.
Quick, Samuel,
So,
take over.
Yeah, Sam can take it over now. I don't know
Yes.
what you guys heard. 'Cause I cut out.
Heard nothing, Stuart.
Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, yeah, with the TrekYards, we do reviews of all the shows, obviously, as all the guys do. But we also do reviews of the very analytical stuff of all the ship's tech, except as our focus. And if you want, knowledge of all the universe, looking at it in a sort of a good and bad way, balanced, we're neither going to take the super positive, super negative. Come check us out. And if you like any ship or any bit of technology, or do just Google TrekYards or YouTube TrekYards, that ship, you're guaranteed to find something on it, either with the people that designed it, or the effects people behind it, or someone that worked on the show, or a costume designer, something special with someone that worked on the show. We are the behind the scenes, all that sort of stuff.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, gentlemen. It has been a privilege having you on today, and hopefully we'll have you back sometime soon as well. Of course, with the Star Trek universe, there's plenty to discuss, and I expect when we get some new ships and Discovery, which I think we are, we'll definitely have you back to do some expert discussions on that. Thank you to Nick, aka Mr. Kowalski, for being my co-host.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, and guys, that is the end of our Trek Central weekly live stream for episode 3 of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. This is a fantastic episode. Don't forget you can watch our review here live on the channel. Next week we'll be back at 9 PM GMT on Sunday, as per usual, with a different special guest. It'll probably be myself, Nick, and Dom, as we discuss episode 4 of Discovery. It's going to be very chill focused, so I would have a guest in mind. Of course, if you would like to see your favourite Star Trek YouTuber or anyone related to the Star Trek franchise appear on the stream, do let us know. You can tag us on Twitter. Let us know in the VOD of the stream as well. We'll definitely do our best to get them on board. Thank you to all your comments who previously suggested TrekYards. We have a lovely gentleman here today, and hopefully we'll have everyone back soon. But yeah, that does end up our live stream. Thank you very much to everyone who super chatted today. An enormous amount of you super chat, and thank you to those who became new YouTube members as well. We've definitely got some big things planned here for the channel soon, so hopefully you will be a part of it. For now, I've been Captain Jack. Thank you for watching, and from all of us, have a good evening and goodbye.
Bye, guys.